Okay, now we're going to hold a special council meeting. This special meeting is being held to enable the Energy Resources Department to purchase electric power at anticipated lower rates, which will be passed on to our customers.
So, Vice Mayor, I think we have staff here to give a briefing. We appreciate the council's accommodation to allow us to have this special council meeting to consider this item. There's is a timely item that benefits the city by taking action now as opposed to waiting to a regular council meeting. So we'll let Frank describe the action that's proposed before council and the purpose for having this item before you today.
Good morning, Vice Mayor Luna and council. I'm Frank McRae with the Energy Resource Department. Joining me is Tony Kadoran, who's done a lot of work on putting this package together. So I'm going to turn most of it over to him, but we do these things fairly frequently, issuing RFPs. We have a good relationship with the wholesale energy market. And so as we presented in our budget presentation a couple of weeks ago, we've been able to offset some of the increases in our other types of costs by decreases in our energy supply cost over the last 10 or so years. And so this is an example of where we'll further decrease our energy supply cost to hopefully offset some of those other increases in our rates. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tony.
Sure. I'll just walk through those points. So we just wanted to bring up a few points to kind of explain why we're here today. So we issued the RFP March 26th. It was on the street for a while, and we got bids back last week, I believe. So the RFP was on the street for 15 days, actually 16 days. And we like to issue these things at specific times of the year. So energy markets fluctuate a lot with the weather, and because weather dictates energy demand in the United States. And so we're always trying to hit the market in March, April timeframe, and then kind of the November, October timeframe as well, because that's when we're going to see the lowest energy prices to lock those in to provide savings to our customers. So that's why we have this on the streets right now. We got the bids back, and the pricing is very good. And so we wanted to push to get that pricing locked in before anything starts heating up in the markets, pushing those prices up, because that's a very real effect that can take hold on our customers. This particular contract that we're looking to replace right now is 38% of our annual energy supply. So it's by far our largest contract. A move of $1 in the price of the contract causes a change annually of about $131,000, or about 1% of our total annual supply cost. So it's critical to hit the timing on this one correctly. Yeah, we just wanted to also bring up, in September, we brought to you a switch in our electric transmission contract. So we used to be just point-to-point transmission is what it was called, where basically we had one path where we could take energy from, and it allowed us access to only one energy trading hub. In September, we switched that to what's called network transmission, and so now we're able to take energy deliveries at multiple points, and just doing that, we're saving close to $1 million a year for our electric customers. But like I said, it also opens up another trading point for us to get energy from. So now we're able to take energy from the Lake Mead hub, so up by Lake Mead, which is where a lot of California entities trade, where a lot of Nevada entities trade, and Utah as well. So by going to Mead with this RFP, we were able to save an additional, I think it was $130,000 annually, maybe a little more. But over the course of 3.5 years, it comes out to about $1.3 million. So over the course of this contract, because we're proposing 3.5 years with this energy supply. So there's a lot of savings on the table here that we wanted to bring to you today. And so that's kind of the basis of where we're at with this RFP.
Are there any questions? Mr. Whitaker.
Are these savings already incorporated into our current budget that we've reviewed?
No, they're not. These would further reduce our electric energy cost adjustment factor supply costs. So it's a separate mechanism from our other rate components. So it's really kind of a separate budget almost for these types of costs and these types of revenues versus the other types of costs and revenues. So that graph that we've shown shows our ECAF costs going down over time. This would continue that trend, and so it offsets the increases in our other rates, which cause the increases in other revenues.
Frank, this is a pass-through expense.
It's a
right?
pass-through. It's a dollar-for-dollar pass-through over time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Mr. Freeman.
Frank, thank you, and Anthony, for this and getting on this. I know energy does fluctuate, and you said it heats up, but it's going to get hot this year. So we want to keep those kilowatt hours the least expensive. I had a question on the 6 people or entities that bid on the RFP. Had you done business with them before?
Yes.
All of them?
Not all of them. We do have some new bidders that responded to the RFP, and so that's good to see. We have more active bidders on our RFP, so that's a good sign. Part of that could have been the extension of, or the transformation of our point-to-point transmission service to the network transmission service, but we've also reached out to a local electric utility and have gotten comfortable, and they've gotten comfortable with us being a potential buyer of their power.
Okay, thank you. On page 5, it talks about the annual reductions could be between $390,000 to $86,000, depending on the year increments. Can you explain that just a little bit more?
Yes, sir. If we get a 1.5-year deal, the price is lower. If we get a 2.5-year deal, the price is a little bit higher. And a 3.5-year deal, the price is a little bit higher. So that's that range there. With a 1.5-year deal, we'd get a larger savings in the first year, but then we would be at risk of the market moving upward the next year when we replace that expiring contract. So the longer you go out, the less risk you have that the market's going to move on you in the upward direction, which would be imposing additional costs on our customers. So we're recommending that we go forward with that 3.5-year deal. The savings aren't quite as great in the first year, but they're assured over that 3.5-year period of time.
Good. Thank you for all you're doing, and I appreciate that.
You bet.
Any other questions? Mr. Whitaker.
So is it normal that we lock these in for 4 years, or is this, was the last time we did this 4 years ago? Like, are we locking these every 4 years? Is that how that works?
So we've historically looked for 3-year and 5-year contracts. The last time we did this particular one, it was only for 18 months because because the contract ended, and then we had to get to where our network transmission started so that we could get bids at those other hubs. So before that, it was 5 years, then it was 18 months, and then this will be 3.5 years to catch up to where it typically used to end in March. So it's 3.5 years is typical for what we've done historically.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so we need to take action on the resolution authorizing the city manager to contract for the purchase of 15 megawatt of electric power beginning October 1st, 2018, and extending for a period for up to 4 years. Is there a motion to approve? Second? Mr. Thompson. So the motion's been made by Mr. Glover, seconded by Mr. Thompson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Mayor?
Aye.
No opposed? Okay, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion for adjournment. Mr. Glover, Mr. Thompson. The motion's been made by Mr. Glover, seconded by Mr. Thompson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mayor. All righty, now we're moving on to the study session for April 19th.